And welcome back to Jeff Koinange live at the Intercontinental Hotel, literally hours away from Jamhuri Day 2015, 52 years of independence. And I've got the best duo you can think of to talk about this theme. Polycarp Igathe, CEO, Vivo Energy, and Njiru, my man from Ungwana, calls it like he sees it. Two gentlemen in their 40s talking about the future of this great nation. Twitter handles are at Igathe, at Ungwana Kenya, at Koinange Jeff, hashtag Jamhuri Day. Gentlemen, it is a great country. I mean, we cannot talk about this enough. And you've said this before, Ken, when you say people, when they talk about America, the way they praise that country, you would think it was another planet.
You touch it, you touch all Americans.
Correct.
If you hit one American, they come for you, all of them. Kenya, you hit 1,000 Kenyans, we are just watching. In fact, you ask which tribes are they from.
That's true. Sadly,
it depends which tribe they are from, so that you can basically react.
Yeah.
You know, I know we're being cynical, but the reality is, we need to up our sense of love for this country, and we need to appreciate that all countries have problems, by the way, and at different types of problems, economic, political, and I think we've come a very long way in a very short time. I mean, even this new constitution we enacted, very few, I'm not even sure any other country has enacted the new constitution in peacetime. Yeah. Removed, one constitution and put one in place. Obviously, it was going to take time, to implement the whole constitution. Could we have done better? Nyachai seems to think we could have done better. But of course, like any other nation, there will always be shenanigans. Can we do better? Of course we can do better.
And can Kenya Daima help us be better, do better, Polycarp?
I think it can.
Yeah.
I think it can if it's with all of us embrace Mkenya Daima, because it's not a property of KEPSA. Mkenya Daima means I don't think, do you have an alternative country you'll go to?
Oh, goodness. And I keep telling people this.
Are you a dual citizen? Do you have an option?
Where am I going?
Okay, listen, I don't have an option. So the same way we work through family problems, because your family is your family. Your age set is your age set. Your land is your land. I love it when I see our leaders come together. It was fantastic to see our president shake the leader of the government in waiting, let me call it that way, Honorable Odinga, when the Pope was here. You know, when they were saying a sign of peace in church. It was wonderful to see the president stand with the speakers of parliament, with the chief justice, and make a statement about corruption. It's wonderful to see all Kenyan schools come together during National Music Festival. And we want to see all these gentlemen and ladies together, even on national days. People should not look for an excuse to miss going for the national day and celebrating our own Kenyanness. Because let me tell you how great this country is. It is the only country, most professionals you see, all these people who are delivering corruption, the thing that converted them from very rural people to urban people with reach is education. I have never seen a country in Africa where education actually is the game changer. If you look at our headlines in Kenya, media headlines, they only change during, when the Pope was here, they change, they become positive. And when we have education rankings, you remember? Yeah. When you see, it's wonderful to watch the news. You see parents celebrating. Look at graduation ceremonies in Kenya. Look at how there's a traffic jam everywhere. Parents come from everywhere to celebrate education. This is the Kenya I know. Yeah. I don't know this other Kenya which we talk down on, this other Kenya where we disparage one another.
There's no government.
There's no government, or we only look at one another on the lenses of where you come from. I will always come from the lake, there's another one who comes from the mountain, there's another one who comes from the plains, there's one who comes from the valley, there's another one who comes from the coast. And we are all Kenyans. We have to accept that. And that's the essence. You asked me whether Mkenya Daima will help. Mkenya Daima is saying, let's take responsibility and infuse the narrative of Kenya with joy, with peace. Because everybody wants to come here because there's a party going on right here. We are the only people who live here who don't know that there's a party going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ken, with your initiative, when I said at the top of the show that it's been going on for about a decade and a half or so, when you drive down the streets, when you walk into the mall, when you're walking down the street, are people telling you this Ungwana-ness is working?
By the way, I get very excited. Just, when was it? Yesterday, I was, making a turn. And this guy came driving as though to cut me. No, it was from this side. It was from the driver's side. And he stops and says, "Mimi ni Mungwana." I mean,
and he's about to cut you?
Yes, he stopped. I suppose now the stopping was what made him, I think, made him a Mungwana.
Yes.
And for me, I keep saying, by the way, the idea is not to crucify people. The idea is to make people realize that what they are doing is basically ushenzi. And maybe just to add on to what Polycarp is saying, one of the core things that we want to drive through Kenya Daima, using the Ungwana, working with the Ungwana initiative, is the fact that we want to bring out the best out of each and every citizen. As we always say, it only happens, it can only happen one Mungwana at a time. You don't change people en masse. It is people who basically commit to changing themselves, to introspection, to having goals, to having values, and to going out and to becoming that Kenyan who basically becomes the best that they can be. Bearing in mind that a chain is always as strong as the weakest link. So if you're weak as a citizen, then this country is weak. If you're strong, this country is strong. Let it be that at the end of the day, each and every one of us can account for their time here on earth. And by the way, if you pass away today and you go and tell God you are jobless, I think he'll tell you, go to hell.
Literally.
Literally.
And he would mean it.
Yes.
Let me add, Jeff, and say, in Kenya Daima, we believe you are mwenye inchi. You're
Yes.
not mwananchi.
Yes.
You've been addressed as mwananchi for too long.
Too long.
The politician was the parent, the citizen was the child. After we enacted the new constitution, the politician became an adult, the citizen became an adult. So you are mwenye inchi. You are the owner of the country. An owner does not burn their own property. And I think what Ungwana, the heart of Ungwana, is saying, let's calibrate our software. Let every teacher, let every parent, let every person listening to us tonight accept that from tomorrow morning I'll behave like a mwenye inchi. A mwenye inchi doesn't leave trash on the ground. A mwenye inchi holds their leaders accountable. A mwenye inchi doesn't become so gullible that you're cheated by a politician, or you're cheated. You actually defend your country.
Willingly cheated.
You get willingly cheated because these people sometimes they try to willingly cheat us. And mwenye inchi speaks truth to power.
How do we change or translate that hate on social media, especially? Because social media now is, everyone's on social media. It seems to be king, especially with the new generation.
How do we at the Ungwana Institute, we have this model. I keep saying it's not scientific, but it seems to work. We say 20% of any population is always ready. They are the champions, ready to change. You will see them out there. For instance, just as an example, you see Polycarp and Bob Collymore. Bob Collymore is actually declaring his wealth. He's basically a champion, fighting corruption. You'll always find a 20% that is ready. And then you'll always find another 20% that was Shenzi Kambili. And those ones, then the law must come down and come down on them hard. Those who refuse to stop sending, hate mail, then there's the law, and the law should be implemented, so to speak. And then there's this 60% here in the middle. This 60% can go that side or can go this side. But with good leadership, it goes towards the Ungwana side rather than the Ushenzi side. And what Mkenya Daima is saying is that, we can all become Wangwana. And that is, by the way, I fundamentally believe to each and every one of us there's a seed of greatness, fundamentally, all right? And it's that seed that now we need to water and to believe in ourselves. And many times, I've said this on this program, every time I see those Kenyans winning on those tracks, Kenya 1, 2, 3, 4, and waiting for each other saying, let us go. Not one guy running like a Mushenzi and winning alone. He literally tells the other Kenyans, hey guys, let's go. 20. Because Kenyans have to win 1, 2, 3. And I remember one commentator, I think it was in Beijing, the commentator saying, these guys seem more intent on winning 1, 2, 3, and even 4 than just winning the goal. And that's the spirit we want to translate everywhere into this country. And by the way, we can do it. We want architects to ensure that buildings are not collapsing. How can buildings be collapsing and we have architects? But even before we get to architects, they are engineers, because I'm told the part of the problem is even the steel that makes those buildings. Who produce this steel? You know what I'm saying? And then there are the planning authorities and the people who are meant to check whether these buildings are built well. And many times we turn our eyes, or you turn a blind eye because somebody gave you kitu kidogo. Then somebody dies. I can tell you something. As I look, as I look into that camera that is looking at me, when those people die, you have blood on your hands.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter how rich you are. In fact, you give birth to a child who's deformed because you've killed people or something happens.
Na malipo ni wapi?
Malipo ni hapa duniani. So it is all these things. Many times we just look at the politician lakini Waswahili wanasema nyani haoni kondule lake. We ourselves have a problem. The way we drive, like you're saying, the way we throw litter, the way we spit, the way we treat our families, is a person who basically will gorge himself on meat the whole weekend. And when his wife says, buy meat for the kids, he'll ask, nyinyi ni umbwa? Ama they want milk, nyinyi ni paka, nataka maziwa saa yote. And out there, by the way, the whole world thinks is the best thing that ever happened to them, because when he enters a bar, you say, hey, si unirushie moja, patia yeye crate. Si lete kanyama, lete mbuzi mzima. That is the nonsense we are saying. We need to clean up across the country.
Can we do that, Polycarp? Can we do that in our lifetime? You know, because
I think we can. Everybody has to do their little thing. Our Nobel Peace Laureate Wangari Maathai said, do your little thing. Our little thing in KEPSA is to inspire Kenya through Kenya Daima. Because in the journey of life as a Kenyan, there are 3 types of passengers. Let's consider Kenya a bus. A bus always has a driver, passengers, and baggage. Now, the driver makes things happen. Passengers watch things happen. Baggage wonder what happened. The problem in this country today, the Ushenzi he talks about, is that all of us have become baggage. If you listen to the narrative in social places, in churches, we are all complaining the driver is not driving right. Anapigisha bump, he's speeding too much. What we need to get onto the driver's seat. You don't have to become president of Kenya. There can only be one president of Kenya. There can be only one leader of the government in waiting or the opposition in Kenya. There can only be, the rest of us have to do our bit where we are. And I love it. You can start to see in the newspapers on Saturdays, I love reading Seeds of Gold. You can see people on the driver's seat. This country is naturally a tourism country, because the hospitality of Kenya, how hospitable we are, is ingrained in us. Whether you go to Turkana, Lonyangalani, all the way to Kilifi, you go to Kenyan families, they invite you, they treat you as their child. So you wonder where we lose it, especially when we come to the national narrative. And I think that is the devil we want to slay. To actually say, this Jamhuri Day, going forward, let us become Kenya Daima. Yes, that does not mean we ignore our afflictions. Let's go for these thieves who are stealing from us. Not even let's call them corruption. It's thieving.
It's thieving.
Let us put them to jail.
Call them what they are.
We should drop the word corruption.
Let's drop the word they are thieves.
Thieves.
And if a thief, if you steal, you can't come and say you come from Roiro 145 where I come from. No. Or you come from Bungo. This is our man from Bungoma who's being done in. Or this is our lady from where is being. If I steal from Vivo Energy, I should be arraigned in court in my own volition, and not my children. I should be accountable for my omission and commission. I should not start hiding behind my community, my religion, my class. I can't, and that is what we have been allowing them to do.
And we're allowing them, and they get away with it.
They get away with it. I mean, you know, today, as I was coming here, I spent almost an hour and a half in traffic. And what still beats me, you know, is the fact that there are Kenyans who spend 4 or 5 hours a day on traffic. They will never even talk. They will not even be a whimper. They will not demand better services from the county government. I mean, Kidero needs to tell us about this traffic. They tried to do some machinations which never really worked.
At the roundabouts.
Yes, but at least in Westlands they seem to have eased the traffic. But after that it died. Kenyans, we take too much ushenzi.
Why put traffic lights and then put traffic cops?
You know, in the rural areas.
Plant grass.
In the rural areas.
Grass was good for the poor.
Okay. And maybe by the way it looks nice. The fact that it's grown, I think it looks
finally
nice. Yeah, Kidero is vindicated.
Okay.
As far as that is concerned. But I don't know how much it cost us. Maybe that will be another issue. But you know, in the rural areas, citizens there demand roads. I mean, you open the TV, you're seeing roads that are impassable. In the urban areas, we should be demanding that this traffic is gotten rid of. Whether we are going to build flyovers or whatever. But you see, what then do we do? You see Kidero passing with two cars, one in front, one behind, and they are hooting for you to get off the road. And we think that is okay.
And we get off the way.
It's not.
Ken, recently, there was an unfortunate incident in Paris. There was a terrorism attack. What did you see in the Paris media? I was watching closely. It was ambulances, soldiers helping the people. It was rescue. It was let's come together. When we had ours,
let's get apart.
No, not even get apart. You show blood, and you put a newspaper headline of a Kenyan lying in blood, and then you start saying disparaging our minister who's trying to do the best they can under the circumstances. And we are saying we can't, this affliction, this lack of self-esteem has to change.
And by the way,
And especially in the media,
think
the
about-
lack of self-esteem.
I agree.
think about it. Paris, or the French technically, or the West generally, we imagine they have good intelligence services, and we imagine that since we always disparage our intelligence services here, these bombs and whatever should only happen in Africa, then it happens in Paris. So these guys who are shouting here, I was wondering why they were not advising the French on how to go about their business, because they seem to know about everything. These things you cannot with 100% certainty say you've stopped these guys. You try to the best of your ability. And so when things like this happen, let us, and I'm not saying don't question. First of all, let the dust settle, and then you can do a commission of inquiry. Did we handle this thing well?
We still haven't got one from Westgate.
Yeah.
And coming back
Still
to
didn't do that.
And coming back to Kenya Daima, the other thing we say is business people, big or small, and this country is a country of businessmen and businesswomen. You are the ambassadors of Kenya. When you take beans and you harvest them and you export them, those beans should be eaten around the world. That is the best, which is a better ambassador than that. When you make furniture or art crafts, like they do in Ukambani area, and you export, you're an ambassador of Kenya. You actually represent the country more than even the ambassador who sits in that country. And we need to start doing that, because the more we talk down this country, the more we poison the business environment, the more we become poor, the more our cheese moves to everywhere else in the world.
The less you work, by the way, because if people are feeling demotivated,
Correct.
then they don't work.
Speaking of
They don't work.
patriotism,
Yeah.
My oh my.
Oh yeah,
My, oh my.
I'm feeling patriotic today, guys. Yeah.
Team JKL.
Team
Very
JKL.
good.
Yeah, it's made in Kenya, man.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you sure?
100%. The cotton grown in Kenya?
By way of China, maybe, but you know.
I mean, by the way, those are other things we need to
Made,
I know.
No, but it's true. Made in the Republic of Kenya.
Growing.
There you go. I
No,
told you so.
no, it's the cotton grown in Kenya.
Beautiful.
This is stitching, yes.
My oh
Yeah.
my.
My oh my.
Yeah.
It's
Gentlemen,
smoking.
happy Jamhuri Day.
Happy Jamhuri Day. I'll wear it with
Asante.
pride.
And continue being patriotic
Na ukue muungwana.
na Mkenya daima.
Na
Na
Kenya daima.
tushangilie Kenya.
Tushangilie.
Kenya taifa letu tukufu.
Kenya tunayoipenda
Daima.
daima, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda daima, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda
Daima. At Koinange Jeff, these gentlemen are no doubt the real deal. Talking about Kenya first, everything else second. Think about that going into Jamhuri Day. Because, like Polycarp said a moment ago, where else are we going to go? And if not us, then who? If not now, when? Happy Jamhuri Day, everybody. Next week, new show, new guest, new theme. But the thing that's consistent about this show, same place, same time. JKL, every Wednesday, Thursday, 10 o'clock, right here on Kenya's television network, KTN. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Good luck. God bless. And happy Jamhuri Day.
Happy Jamhuri Day.
Asante, gentlemen.